A very good evening and thank you for joining GBS News at 9. My name is Stephen George and our sign language interpreter tonight is Paul Madenge. And now, big changes are coming for Kenya's police officers and soldiers, especially when it comes to their health care. President William Ruto has announced a major overhaul of their medical treatment schemes aimed at boosting their welfare. Now, speaking at State House Nairobi during the presentation of the National Police Service Commission exit report, Ruto stated that officers seeking medical treatment will no longer be restricted to specific hospitals across the country. As part of the new changes, officers will now be able to access treatment at facilities of their choice under the Universal Health Coverage Program. Susan Nganga reports.
Imagine being able to choose your own doctor, no matter where you're stationed. Well, that's the reality President Ruto is promising police officers and soldiers. Speaking at State House, the president revealed that the officers will no longer be limited to specific hospitals. Instead, they'll be able to seek treatment at any facility of their choosing.
We're also going to enhance the service, to broaden access of different medical services. We are standardizing the whole medical scheme to make sure that while today the police service enjoy a lower facility than other public servants, under the new Universal Health Care Program, all officers on job groups that are equivalent will get the same medical facilities made available to them under the new program.
The president also addressed the long-awaited issue of the new police uniforms, committing government funds to finally roll them out.
I'm also looking forward to the implementation of the police uniform program, which I have discussed with the IG here, and I'm confident that going into the future, we will make the necessary budgetary provision so that all our men and women in uniform, especially our police, are kitted properly.
He also pledged to continue modernizing police equipment, ensuring they have the tools they need to protect Kenyans. And to improve response times, the government plans to boost the police transportation capabilities by purchasing more vehicles.
We'll also be looking at police transport to make sure that we can accelerate response time for police action in different parts whenever citizens are in distress and whenever their property is at risk.
These changes comes as the current National Police Service Commission prepares to hand over the reins. The Public Service Commission has already begun the process of recruiting new commissioners. Susan Nganga, GBS News.
President William Ruto awarded Dr. Akwenumi Adesina, the president of the African Development Bank, the prestigious Chief Grand Commander of the Order of the Golden Heart. The honor, presented during a ceremony at State House Nairobi, recognizes Dr. Adesina's outstanding leadership and his significant contributions to Kenya and Africa's development across various sectors.
President William Ruto today honored Dr. Adesina, the president of African Development Bank, with the prestigious title of Chief Grand Commander of the Order of Golden Heart. During a ceremony at the State House, Nairobi, this honor recognizes Dr. Adesina's exceptional leadership and his efforts to drive Africa's development, especially in areas like infrastructure, agriculture, and financial systems.
It's an honor that I have the privilege as president, but on behalf of the government and people of Kenya, to award you for the distinguished service, the commitment you have demonstrated, and the passion you have worked with to see to it that in every way you demonstrated your commitment and your passion for our country.
President Ruto also highlighted the African Development Bank support for Kenya's affordable housing program, a key initiative aimed at providing quality, affordable homes for many Kenyans and create job opportunities.
We have 150,000 houses being constructed in Kenya. We have close to 260,000 young people working in our housing program across Kenya. I launched several housing projects that will hire many young people. That program, again, you supporting the mortgage end makes that program much more viable.
Dr. Adesina expressed his gratitude for the recognition and praised Kenya's leadership in driving regional development, emphasizing the African Development Bank's commitment to supporting projects across Africa, including in energy, agriculture, and financial system.
Your Excellency, President Ruto, I am most grateful to you, sir, for your conferring on me today the prestigious honor of the Chief of the Order of Golden Heart, CGH, Kenya's highest and most distinguished honor. As the President of the African Development Bank, I am proud that my colleagues and I have been running with Kenya and scoring development goals with Kenya. Kenya has, Mr. President, a special place in the history of the African Development Bank since its establishment in 1964.
The ceremony was attended by government officials, diplomats, and various guests, marking a momentous occasion in the partnership between Kenya and the Africa Development Bank, which continues to contribute to the continent's economic growth. Triza Tiengo, GBS News.
Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka today made his way to Laikipia County. The former vice president, who was with his counterparts in the opposition, stated that the Mount Kenya region will produce a president come 2027. Due to the huge numbers that the mountain commands, a statement threatening national unity. Kalonzo tours comes in just one day after President William Ruto completed his tour in Nairobi region and is expected to kickstart his tour to the mountain. Davis Karwani reports.
After a moment of silence and just a day after they were denied a chance to address a congregation at the St. Stephen's Cathedral Church in Nairobi County, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka today was a visitor of Laikipia County, one among the 10 counties in the Mount Kenya region, a region which, according to him, is enough to make a president of the Republic of Kenya.
Nataka niwahakikishie hapa hakuna mtu wa Kenya atasema 40 ati makabila 40 against one nation. Sasa hiyo haitawezekana. Kwa sababu sasa nyinyi mjue kuna Mount Kenya South, kuna Mount Kenya Central na kuna Mount Kenya North. Hiyo kura peke yake hiyo inawapeleka wote nyumbani.
Kalonzo's statement was backed up by assistant lawyer Lee Njiru, who also hit the drum for the benefit of the opposition while pointing an arrow to the Kenya Kwanza administration, targeting President William Ruto as he insisted for his exit from the office come 2027.
Wangapi wanataka tumtoe Kasongo? Wangapi wanasema Ruto must go? Ruto must go! Ruto must go!
Kalonzo's tour to the mountain just comes in 3 days after President William Ruto completed his tour in Nairobi County and is expected to begin his Mount Kenya region tour, as he also keeps rebranding his house while putting it in order with the new branding.
Nimekubali muniongezee majina mpaka ifike 10. Itoshane na miaka 10. Ama munasema namna gani? Sasa majina ndio ile mpaka hata jana naona mumeniongezea ingine. Ati El Chapo.
Davis Karani for GBS News, Nairobi.
Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture and Livestock Development, Mutai Kagwe, has called for urgent reforms in agricultural financing to support smallholder farmers who form the majority of Africa's food producers. Speaking at the African Development Bank Conference on Financing Smallholder Farmers, Kagwe urged financial institutions and policymakers to develop accessible funding models tailored to the needs of rural farmers now. He highlighted the barriers small small-scale farmers face in securing loans, investing in modern farming techniques, and accessing vital inputs such as fertilizer and irrigation systems. The AFDB conference comes at a time when Africa's food security is under pressure due to climate change, supply chain disruptions, and rising production costs. The bank has been championing initiatives such as the special agro-industrial processing zones and the affirmative financing action for women in Africa to expand financing opportunities for smallholder farmers.
What does the farmer, the one we are discussing here, need in order to feel empowered and capacitated? In my discussions with them, with the farmers, the fundamentals are really simple. And what they have been telling me is that you are talking in very sophisticated manner in a very towards a very simple subject. The biggest handle farmers face is limited access to affordable credit due to lack of collateral, credit histories, and financial literacy. As a result, they rely on high interest informal lending or inadequate government subsidies, preventing them from accessing essentials like fertilizers, high-yield seeds, and modern agricultural inputs. Climate change, as the previous speaker said, further exacerbates these challenges, keeping millions trapped in poverty and limiting Africa's agricultural potential.
President William Ruto has today officially welcomed all rally drivers and motorsport enthusiasts to the 2025 WRC Safari Rally competition scheduled to take place in Naivasha as from 20th to 23rd of this month.
Vroom, vroom. These will be the sounds and the spectacular views at the WRC 2025 Safari Rally event, scheduled to take place as from the 20th to 23rd this month in Naivasha. President William Ruto took his time today to welcome all the competing drivers and motoring enthusiasts to the event.
To all the drivers, all the visitors, all our guests, both from the world over, from our region and from Kenya, welcome to Naivasha, welcome to the World Safari Rally. We are privileged to host all of you. Welcome to Naivasha.
This will arguably be the most grueling event in the WRC calendar. Drivers facing a 384-kilometer competition across the vast Vasha plains, rocky tracks, and thick mud. The event starts at the onset of rainy season with unpredictable weather. All these call for endurance and a fighting spirit from the drivers as they will cruise through the perilous topography.
Running? Yeah! Ah, that kid. It's running so fast but so slowly. All right.
Likewise for tourists, a breathtaking landscape and an incredible wildlife to the rich local savanna cultures awaits them. So, let's meet in Vasha and witness the vroom vroom action of the 2025 WRC Safari Rally competition. Victor June, GBS News, Hot 9.
A vroom vroom indeed. It is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming in the social media platforms at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 214. We'll be back.
Yeah, because we are here to entertain and educate at the same time. So the question of the day, have you ever benefited from any youth-led initiative?
What pushed me to get into the ground, one, was born HIV positive, by the way. So when I was born HIV positive, I felt like the society and the youth need to be educated much on about the HIV and HIV management.
Someone was confessing and alikuwa anasema like yeye ako HIV positive, ni student. But yeye badala ya ajue venye atasaidia wengine, yeye ana try venye atasambaza.
Unajua pia kitu kingine yenye natusumbua sisi mayouth ni kiburi. You don't want to learn, unaona?
Yeah.
Be there to learn. My youth are doing things that they are not supposed to do. Kwa sababu anataka kitu yenye iko beyond yeye. Iko beyond haezi afford. Unaona? Manze mimi nataka kubamba wase kuchafua meza, kukuwa na dem sijui mwenye anakaje. Ndio at least wase wa feel like mimi nimeweza. Manze mimi hiyo ya kuweza, acha tuweze ki mindset. Na pia uset goals. Kama una goals manze kwa hii life sijui penye. Ni kama tu yani you should live with a purpose, not in purpose. Unajua most of us are living in purpose. Whereby yani wewe uko tu manze. Hata unataka kukatia dema na kuambia habari yako mzuri. Unadoingi nini ati mimi niko tu. What is mimi niko?
Hello everyone! Welcome to Fun Art Class! Friends, do you know what we're going to make today? Yes, we're going to make a star. Now let's begin our class. Time to make. First, you're going to fold your paper into triangle. Ta-da! Now we're done with the star.
So through the 4 gospel books, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, John, we can know the heart of Jesus in depth.
그리고 우리가 느끼는 그 예수님을 성경을 통해 느낄 수 있어서 너무 감사합니다.
And the Jesus that we can feel him through the scriptures, and I'm very thankful about that. Jesus Christ came to this earth for our sins. He carried our sins.
십자가에 못 박혀 죽어 죄의 형벌을 당하셨고,
and he was crucified, and he received the punishment for sins.
무덤에 들어가셨다가,
and he was put into the tomb.
사흘 만에 부활하셨습니다.
and resurrected in 3 days.
이것이 우리가 말하는 복음입니다.
This is the gospel that we speak.
예수님께 우리 죄를 위해 죽으신 이야기.
About how Jesus died for our sins. The purpose of Jesus being crucified.
우리 죄를 담당하기 위하여 십자가에 못 박혀 죽으셨습니다.
He was crucified to pay for our sins.
예수님 십자가에 못 박혀 죽으심으로 우리 죄가 분명히 씻어졌는데.
And through Jesus being crucified, clearly our sins have been washed clean.
참 안타깝게도 많은 사람은 여전히 죄인이라고 말합니다.
However, unfortunately, many people still say that they are sinners.
Everywhere, GBS.
And welcome back now. Church is now the current platform that many politicians use to sell their political agenda. Most political leaders usually take the advantage of the church to address the already established audience with no cost of mobilization required. But yesterday, the Anglican Church, Archbishop Jackson Olesapit bade politicians who may use the Archchurch pulpit to sell their political agenda. And as a leader, he led by an example after denying the former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka and the former DP Rigathi Gachagua from addressing his congregants. Davis Karwani reports.
We will mention their names, they will wave their hands, and if they so wish to speak to the congregants, it will be done outside of the sanctuary. And not only today, but in all our dioceses and in all our churches.
He has once again bounced back, taking in politicians eyeing to use the church pulpit for their political gain, head-on collision.
Baada ya uchaguzi moja tunaanza immediately kampeni za siasa. Na tumeona hivi karibuni ya kwamba mirengo ambazo zinaendelea kujiunda zimekuwa na cheche nyingi na mengi wakati mwingi ni ya kugawanya, ni ya sio kuleta uwiano hasa, ni ya kulenga kila mrengo ilete maneno yake na cheche zake. Na basi tukaona kanisa haitakuwa platform ama mahali ambayo malumbano ya siasa ambayo inaendelea kugawanya nchi hii itaendelea kusungusiwa.
A statement he similarly released in 2021, the time the nation was heading into the general elections and the political atmosphere then filled every corner of the country, forcing Ole Sapit to ban politicians who had intended to use the Anglican Church as the avenue to sell their political agenda to the congregants.
And from today onward, nimepiga marufuku wanasiasa kuzungumza ndani ya kanisa Anglikana. Hata media mkiweka leo kamera hapo hawataongea.
His recent declaration follows a week after President William Ruto gave a donation of 20 million Kenya shillings to Winners Chapel with a promise of contributing 100 million shillings.
Bali na kusema wanajeshi wasimame kando, bali na kutengeneza barabara, si ndio? Mimi mwenyewe nitatoa milioni 20 kwanza.
According to the ACK Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit, he stated that all politicians who attend their services in the ACK Church should attend the service just like other congregants do, and any contribution they make should not be announced to the public, a statement which was fully supported by Kenyans.
Ni kweli kwamba kanisa ama mahali pa kuabudu ni mahali ambapo imetengwa rasmi kwa ajili ya ibada.
Kwa hivyo kanisa haijagandamiza mtu, kila mmoja wetu aingie kanisani na apate kuomba. Na pia ningewasiwa na siasa wa support wachungaji na viongozi wa kanisa katika msimamo huu, ili kanisa iwe safi, tusije tukachafua kanisa kwa njia hiyo. Tukitoa sadaka, tutoe sadaka, lakini isikuwe ni ya kisiasa ama ya kutangaza.
Will Ole Sapit's statement be achieved bearing in mind that it failed to work in 2022? Will other church leaders agree with the pronouncement made by the ACK Church Archbishop? This is a rhetoric question that will be answered by a matter of time. Davis Karani, GBS News, Nairobi.
Gay Member of Parliament Elisha Odhiambo has dismissed former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's attempts to win over former Prime Minister Raila Odinga in their efforts against President William Ruto. Odhiambo stated that Gachagwa's actions were misguided given that voters from the Central Kenya have never supported Raila or anyone from the Lake region.
Game Member of Parliament Elisha Odhiambo has criticized former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's efforts to convince former Prime Minister Raila Odinga to support their cause against President William Ruto. Speaking at a celebration for Malera Boys High School's good KCSE results, Odhiambo argued that Gachagwa's attempts were misguided, as voters from Central Kenya have historically not supported Raila Odinga or anyone from the Lake region, a trend he believes will continue in the 2027 elections.
The only thing that I want to tell my brothers, the people from Central, they have never voted for any Luo. They will not vote for Raila. So they should not lie to Raila, like Gachagua is saying, that if you vie, we are going to support. It's a big lie.
He also praised Raila for recognizing this reality and choosing to support President Ruto, reaffirming that Ruto will be the ODM party's presidential candidate in 2027.
I want to congratulate the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga for joining hands to support William Samoei Ruto. When they're in conversation, many people are doubting that Raila was not honest. Now Kenyans can see that Raila Amolo Odinga is a honest politician. Our presidential candidate in 2027 is President William Samoei. Hakuna mwingine.
The release of fund to counties. He expressed concerns that the headline stance of the controller was preventing poor students from accessing education and urged them to consider the struggles of families in need.
I think the lady in charge of budget, I think she does not feel for the students who are poor. She has refused to allocate bursaries to the counties. But remember, in schools in Kenya, there are many students who are poor. Let her think of families who are struggling at home. And let allow the Council of Governors to negotiate with her so that these students can have opportunity to stay in school.
Triza Tiengo, GBS News.
Embu Senator Alexander Munyi has dismissed calls for ODM leader Raila Odinga to form an alliance with former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua ahead of 2027 general election. He instead backed the ongoing collaboration between Raila and President William Ruto, arguing that it offers a more stable political future. Speaking at Kiga ICK Church in Runyenjes, Mundigi criticized Murang'a Senator Joe Nyutu for encouraging Raila to team up with Gachagua, terming the proposal as insincere. He accused some opposition figures of hypocrisy, reminding them that they had previously dismissed Raila as unelectable in Mount Kenya. Mundigi's remarks come after Senator Nyutu, speaking at a burial in Machakos, suggested that Raila's best political strategy lay in an alliance with Gachagua. The debate over Raila's next political move has sparked fresh tensions, with different factions pushing contrasting narratives as 2027 political realignments take shape.
Watu wengi waliomba asiende, na sisi tulikuwa naomba aende, akaweza kukuja. Sasa nasikia Nyutu jana akaambia watu kwa Masisi ati pahali Raila anaweza kuwa ametosheleza aweze kuwa rais wa Kenya ni mambo kwa Rigathi Gachagua. Nataka nimwambie hakuna kitu kama hiyo. Hiyo naweza kusema ni crocodile tears, kwa sababu 2022 wale watu wa Mount Kenya wengine walimdanganya na kuweza kupita. Naweza kusema ni asante sana kwa William Ruto ambaye ameona ni vizuri alete serikali, alete chama ya ODM Omoro Odinga kwa serikali, ndio tuweze kuangalia vile tunaweza kutembea parapara moja, kwa sababu ana ukabila. Kabila zote kaunti ya 47 anataka tuendelee tukiwa parapara moja. Kwa hiyo nataka niambie watu wanataka kundanganya Raila. Nataka kushukuru Raila kwa kukumbali tuende parapara moja, ndio tuweze kuona vile tutaweza kupandisha economy ya Kenya na vile tutaweza kuwa na amani, vile kaunti 47 tutaweza kuwa pamoja.
An investor cultivating sugarcane in Yala Swamp, Siaya County must hold discussions with the local community within 10 days to resolve a dispute over land use, Governor James Orengo has said. Speaking at Musunguru grounds in Alego Songa constituency, Orengo warned that failure by Lake Agro Limited to engage with residents would prompt the county government to halt the company's sugarcane harvesting and transportation to its factory in a neighboring county. Now, the governor accused the national government of issuing the investor a 66-year lease without consulting the affected community, a move he termed as illegal. He urged that under Kenyan law, community consent is required before leasing community land, and agricultural investment leases should not exceed 25 years. Orengo also criticized the investor for failing to create employment for local residents, stating that the company's presence had not benefited the county in any meaningful way.
We are giving a notice of 10 days. The Constitution of Kenya talked about community land. And community land is community land. When you are giving somebody a right over community land, the community must be informed and they must give their consent. However powerful you are, community land is community land. And in modern Kenya, we cannot have somebody taking community land for 66 years. That is obscene, that is a disgrace. And in the whole of Siaya, there is no land which is as valuable as this land. And now, the investor has more right than the community. That is a situation we cannot allow. It's not that we are against investment, but it's a situation we cannot allow.
Now, a diplomatic crisis has erupted as Rwanda severed all ties with Belgium, ordering its diplomats to leave within 48 hours. Kigali accuses Brussels of consistently undermining its interests, particularly concerning the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo, alleging neo-colonial delusions and spread of lies and manipulation. Belgium, in turn, expelled Rwandan diplomats, labeling the move disproportionate and lamenting the breakdown of dialogue, as Susan Nganga reports.
Has severe diplomatic ties with Belgium,
ordering all Belgium diplomats to leave the country within 48 hours. This dramatic move stems from escalating tensions over the ongoing conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Rwanda accuses Belgium of persistently undermining its interest, particularly regarding the situation in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo.
Ubwo n'Ububiligi mvuga kandi aza kubwihanangiriza ndabisubiza. Ububiligi bwishe u Rwanda bukica abanyarwanda amateka aya yose arenze imyaka 30 gusa. Twarabihanangirije kuva kera, turaza kubihanangiriza n'ubu ngubu. Akongera mukanya bati ntabwo tubemerera ko mugera mutya, ariko tukabaza ariko mu babandi mwadushinzwe nande.
In a statement, Rwanda's foreign ministry claimed Belgium, and I quote, consistently undermined Rwanda and is using lies and manipulation to create a hostile image of the country. They also accuse Belgium of attempting to sustain neo-colonial delusions. The core of the dispute lies in Rwanda's alleged support for the M23 rebel group in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, a claim Rwanda denies. Belgium, the former colonial power in the region, has been vocal in its criticism of Rwanda's role and has pushed for international sanctions. This has led to a breakdown in relations, with Rwandan President Paul Kagame accusing Belgium of taking sides in the conflict. Belgium responded by expelling Rwandan diplomats from Brussels, calling Rwanda's decision, and I quote, disproportionate, and saying that it shows that when we disagree with Rwanda, they prefer not to engage in dialogue. Susan Nganga, GBS News.
Well, it is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming and our social media platform at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 244. We'll be back.
Today we're talking about importance of premarital counseling. Maybe to start with, help us to understand what is premarital counseling and why is it important?
Why a man should leave his parents. Kwa nini spiritually? Kwa nini mwanaume ataacha wazazi wake aende kwa mke wake? And then there's no true love in this world. We just say true love. Truth never change. Kitambo, I was a boxer, I worked in matatu sector. So you know what I mean, isn't it? So nilipitia. As a pastor anyway, he says danganya, watu wananijua.
A truth never change.
Yeah.
A truth never change.
Yeah.
So if I tell you the truth, it will not change. Even if you'll ask me 5 years later, as long as I said the truth, I'll not forget because that is the truth.
Kuna msemo lakini ni uongo, yani wanasema ukiongea ukweli hautaishi na bibi. Action speaks
louder than words. True.
Yeah. So what I say is not important. My actions are important. Nikamwambia mali jiwe na tupwa si mali naanguka. Then she changed her mind. And then I come home.
everywhere. GBS.
Welcome back to international news. Israel has launched a new wave of airstrikes in Gaza that resulted in the deaths of 3 Palestinian men, while 3 people are wounded in another airstrike in southern Gaza. This airstrike comes after Hamas agreed to release an American hostage named Aidan Alexander and deceased bodies following the announcement that the second phase of the ceasefire talks will resume, Abdi Ahmed reports.
Today, Israel launched airstrikes in the devastated enclave that resulted in the death of 3 Palestinian men. Another airstrike was launched in Rafah, located in the southern part of the enclave, injuring 3 people. This latest airstrike is an indicator that talks regarding the second phase of the ceasefire is in limbo. Last week, mediators revealed to Hamas that talks regarding the second phase of the ceasefire will resume. Hamas announced they will release an American hostage named Aidan Alexander and 4 deceased bodies of Israeli hostages. The latest airstrikes indicate that Israel has violated the temporary ceasefire, which was extended until March 31st during the end of Ramadan. These latest airstrikes also indicates the fragile nature of the 3 phases of the ceasefire. The second phase of the ceasefire involves the release of all hostages in exchange of more Palestinian prisoners, full withdrawal of the Israeli military, and more aid supplies allowed in the enclave. So far, the Israeli government has not allowed aid materials to enter Gaza, accusing Hamas of stealing aid supplies from civilians. Hamas has denied the claims made by the Israeli government. With the second phase of the ceasefire up in the air, the question remains, how will the international community respond to the latest airstrike happening during the temporary ceasefire? Are the civilians in Gaza in danger of facing another wave of airstrikes and bombardments? This is Abdi Hamid Ali.
Air conditions with limited access to basic services. The violence has led to a significant increase in grave violations against children, including sexual violence, killings, and recruitment by armed groups.
According to UNICEF, the resurgence of conflict in the province of South Kivu in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo has forced more than 850,000 people, nearly half of them children, to flee their homes. Many are living in precarious conditions, taking shelter in schools, churches, or in the open, with limited access to clean water and sanitation, healthcare, and education. The ongoing violence in the province has led to a sharp rise in grave violations against children. Verified cases have surged since January 2025, marking an approximately 150% increase compared to December 2024. These violations include sexual violence, killings, maiming, and the recruitment and the use of children by armed groups. UNICEF representative in the Democratic Republic of Congo visited the eastern region earlier in March to witness firsthand the impact of the crisis in Bukavu and to assess UNICEF intensified response. Paris Kigo, GBS News.
South Korea's main opposition party, the Democratic Party, has called upon the Constitutional Court to quickly make a ruling on President Yoon Soo's impeachment. The court has delayed on the ruling, which was supposed to be declared 3 weeks ago. Here's more on the scene.
The political landscape in South Korea grows more uncertain and more divided as days pass by. The Constitutional Court has delayed President Yoon Suk-yeol's ruling following Yoon's declaring martial law last December. The main opposition party, the Democratic Party, has urged the court to quickly make a ruling on President Yoon's impeachment. Otherwise, the growing political divide will exacerbate. This marks the longest impeachment proceedings after the 8 judges are still deliberating on Yoon's fate to strip him from his presidential powers. The growing political divide can be seen on the street as thousands of pro- and anti-impeachment groups are protesting. The anti-impeachment group wants Yoon to be exonerated and his powers to be restored. The court ended proceedings on February 25th, where Yoon stated that he declared the martial law as a method to protect the country from North Korean sympathizers. Yoon is also facing a separate criminal charges of insurrection, which is punishable by life or death sentence. As the land of the MONUCAM faces uncertainty in the political landscape, a South Korean military drone has accidentally collided with a helicopter, which resulted in no casualties. The collision caused a fire outbreak, which was easily contained. Yoon's fate is now at the hands of the judges that will define South Korean politics for years to come. This is Abdihamid Ali, GBS News.
Peace talks between the Democratic Republic of Congo and the M23 group are set to take place in Angola on the 18th of March under the facilitation of Angola's president. Now, the talks followed the implementation of ceasefire on the March 16th and aim to resolve the ongoing conflict in eastern Congo, with both sides seeking a peaceful solution.
A pivotal week is unfolding for the ongoing conflict in eastern Congo, with key peace talks scheduled between the Democratic Republic of Congo and the M23 armed groups on Tuesday, March 18 in Luanda, Angola. The talks, facilitated by Angola's President João Lourenço, comes after a ceasefire took effect on March 16. The meetings aim to find a peaceful resolution to the conflict, with both DRC President Felix Tshisekedi and President Lourenço working closely together. However, the specifics of the talks, including the makeup of the DRC delegation, remain uncertain, and the M23 has expressed concern about security guarantees before confirming its participation. The peace process comes amid conflicting reports of ceasefire violations. Fighting and bombings have been reported in areas such as Masisi and Walikale, despite both sides officially recognizing the ceasefire. Concurrently, two significant regional meetings are taking place, one in Harare to discuss ceasefire monitoring and military strategies. Political analyst Feliciano Lourenço sees the Rwanda talks as a crucial step forward, emphasizing the need to align the interests of both the M23 and the DRC government.
The negotiations are positive development as they have compelled both Felix government and African Union to engage in a dialogue without M23's significant role in the struggle in the achievement. This meeting would have not occurred, however, their strength and capabilities has forced a discussion to take place. It is encouraging that a meeting is happening with the goal of peace and stability, because ultimately it is the people who bear the suffering.
With the M23's strength playing a key role in bringing about these discussions, Lourenço believes the meetings offer hope for peace in the region. The goal is for both sides to engage constructively, facilitated by the African Union, to achieve a lasting resolution to the conflict in eastern Congo. Peris Kigo, GBS News.
Russia has laid out their demands for a peaceful deal with Ukraine. Russia has stated that Ukraine should be excluded from joining NATO. Furthermore, Russia has demanded that Ukraine should have a neutral stance in the global stage. This comes after Ukraine agreed to a 30-day ceasefire proposal that will limit air and sea combats between the two warring nations. Here's more on the story.
For a week, Russia's willingness to accept peace has been tested by the international community. Ukraine has agreed to a 30-day ceasefire proposal that will pause air and sea combats as a way to give room to formulate a long-term peace treaty. However, Russia included a list of demands that will guarantee Ukraine's security. Russia has stated that Ukraine should be excluded from joining NATO. Furthermore, Russia stated that NATO peacekeeping troops should not be allowed in Ukraine. Instead, they are open to unarmed conflict observers. US President Donald Trump is expected to call Russian President Vladimir Putin tomorrow to discuss the ceasefire proposal and the territories under Russian occupation.
I'll be speaking to President Putin on Tuesday, and a lot of work's been done over the weekend. We want to see if we can bring that war to an end. Maybe we can, maybe we can't, but I think we have a very good chance. We'll be talking about land, we'll be talking about power plants, because that's up, that's a big question. But I think we have a lot of it already discussed very much by both sides.
Meanwhile, Russia and Ukraine continue to launch missile and drone attacks that have caused mass casualties and the destruction of property, with Ukrainian officials warning their citizens of more drone attacks to be unleashed by Russia. As the situation between Russia and Ukraine escalates, the question remains, what compromises must Russia and Ukraine make in order for the peace deal to materialize? How will Trump respond to Putin's demand? Only time will tell. This is Abdihamid Ali, GBS News.
Indeed, time will tell. It is time for your most favorite segment of the show, the sports news. Let's get sporty. As the world's most challenging rally returns to Kenya's breathtaking landscapes, Vivo Energy Kenya has announced a significant motorsport sponsorship for 5 crews ahead of the 2025 World Rally Championship Safari Rally. The sponsorship lineup features the mother-daughter team of Caroline Gatimu and Tanashi Gatimu and dynamic pairing of Rajver Tati, navigated by Shabazz Anwar. Here's more on the story.
It is all set for the WRC Safari Rally 2025 after Vivo Energy announced a significant motorsport sponsorship for 5 crews ahead of the 2025 WRC Safari Rally circuit. The sponsored lineup features the mother and daughter team of Caroline Gatimu and Tinash Gatimu and a dynamic pairing of Rajvir Thethi, navigated by Shabar Anwar, whose technical expertise made them fan favorites in the second round of the Shell Autocross Championship. According to Shell, the partnership underscores Shell's long-standing commitment to motorsport excellence, highlighting the company's dedication to fostering local talent in Kenya's vibrant rally scene.
Shell and motorsport is a relationship that has lasted since the beginning of time. For the last 75 years, since the beginning of motorsport, Shell has been a key partner, and here in Kenya, we take pride that we have participated in every one of these events and specifically gone to support the people who need it the most, the drivers.
Shell has also formed a strategic partnership with JCB Ganatra to enhance the iconic Kasarani Super Special Stage. JCB Ganatra CEO Altaf Ganatra has transformed the stage into a more spectacular arena, incorporating challenging new features that will test the limits of both drivers and machines.
We've also partnered with JCB to be part of the team that was involved in creating the actual route that will be used as a spectator stage here at Kasarani next week on Thursday. And further than that, we've also partnered together in the work that JCB has done at Sleeping Warrior down in Naivasha. This is something which is part of our ethos, and as you can see, we have Ferrari here and Shell as one of the international partnerships that Shell has with a motorsport partner and also an original vehicle manufacturer.
The event will proper rev off with ceremonial start along City Hall, with the Kenyatta International Conference Center KICC serving as the holding area for the cars.
We've prepared well in terms of the car. The service crew is working on the car. As a team, we've worked out, we have our own strategy on how just to get to the end. It's a longer endurance, so we are looking forward to working together as a team to be able to get us to the end, because we are going to do close to 1,500 kilometers. We moved from an M10 to an M12, so it has more power. Looking forward to the experience. for one. Two, it's a challenge being the only ladies, so we will have to deliver beyond exception and do what the other drivers are doing, competing with the men.
As is the norm, the World Staffage Rally has attracted heavyweights in the motorsport world, including defending champion Kalle Rovanpera, Belgian Thierry Neuville, and current leader of WRC standings, Elfyn Evans, among others. The WRC Safari Rally Kenya has earned its reputation as the world's toughest rally for good reason. Drivers will face everything from scorching heat to sudden downpours, navigating terrain that shifts from high-speed sections to treacherous mud pits in an instant. Manuya Kevin, GBS Sports.
Kipipiri FC triumphed over Ndaragwa FC in a thrilling penalty shootout to win the Governor Kiare Badilisha Super Cup. After a 0-0 draw in normal and extra time, Kipipiri FC claimed 500,000 shillings, while Ndaragwa FC received a total of 300,000.
Kipipiri FC emerged as the winners of the Governor Kiaria Badilisha Super Cup after a thrilling final against Ndaragwa FC, which was held at Oljororok Stadium in Nyandarua County. The match ended in a 0-0 draw after 90 minutes and extra time. The penalty shootout saw Kipipiri FC narrowly defeat Ndaragwa 6-5, securing the grand prize of 500 Kenyan shillings, while runners-up Ndaragwa FC, despite the loss, received 300,000 Kenyan shillings. Governor Kiaria Badilisha, who attended the event, emphasized his strong commitment to supporting youth development through sports, creative arts, and innovation.
Kwa hivyo tutawatafuta, tutawashika, tutaweka pamoja, tutawapea training ya talanta zao zote, iwe ni mbio, iwe ni uzungumzaji, iwe ni drama, iwe ni utangazaji, iwe ni jambo lolote lile ambalo tuna talanta.
Tunashukuru sana Mheshimiwa Governor kuleta hili diba.
Meanwhile, in volleyball, Oljorok men's team dominated their opponents to win the championship title, while in the women's category, Olkalou Volleyball Club emerged victorious after a competitive match against Oljororok women's team. Elvin Muyodi, GBS Sports.
Well, we have come to the end of the news bulletin. It is always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do this again, same time, same channel. My name is Stephen George, and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Paul Madenge. Good night.
Everywhere, GBS.